I've had conversations plenty of times about I'm going to grant review, and then you get like kind of the puppy dog sideways head look, like, what are you talking about? And so then when you're able to really talk about things that impact those people's lives, specifically my wife's a teacher. She didn't understand all the organizations that help with food, with after school programs. How do they get funded? Where do they get money? Where do they get operational cost? How does this work? She learned the answer, and it's the Walker Area Community Foundation.
Grant review team's important on a number of levels. The donors are trusting us with their hard-earned dollars, and they're doing the oversight on where those dollars are going to be invested.
The grant review team is actually really diverse. Coming from my background with prison and drugs, it was just another place within this community where people believed in me. And I think that says a lot about the foundation, is that they want to take people from within the community and figure out how they're going to make it better, and not just, okay, well, who's the people that are going to check these boxes and meet all of our requirements?
I've worked with various nonprofits, but when we moved back here, I really wanted to make a local impact. And the foundation just touches so many nonprofits in the community.
To have a community foundation and a grant review committee like this that has the ability to help, to be a part of it is really an amazing thing for me as a personal journey.
We are responsible for the gifts we receive. We have a very thorough process.
It's rigorous, and no one does it better than this foundation.
So we have a application window that opens for about a month, and nonprofit partners are able to submit their applications with their information.
The documentation that we require, a balance sheet, an income statement, a statement of cash flows, those are all documents that these organizations would have to go to the bank and get a loan. But the big difference is the bank wants to get paid back. But we're giving the money away. We're investing and look to see them make a difference in our community.
When I was an employee, I remember the binders, binder after binder after binder that we put together, the countless lemon squares that I would eat and gallons of Dr. Pepper that I would drink while we read every single grant.
They'll assign 2, 3, sometimes 4 grants to an individual.
Our job as a grant reviewer is to investigate the grant.
It does entail a lot of work. So in getting that application, it's going through every page of the application, making sure financials are appropriate, making sure that there's an intention statement of what they're going to do with the funds that they've requested.
Who are they going to reach? Is it very important to our community? Are they going to make a difference in our community? And do the goals that they have, are those reachable?
And then we go out to interview those candidates that have applied for a grant.
When I go for the interview for the grant review, I have the responsibility to see if this organization needs this, or if it's something that's not necessarily a need versus a want.
Why do you want this amount of money, and what are you going to use this amount of money for, and is that the best use of this amount of money for you or for anyone else? There's not blank checks. It's you're going to earn it. We're going to prove that what you're doing makes sense for the funds that we're going to allocate.
The funny part is I always get so excited that I always sign up to serve at all the other nonprofits. But in a nutshell, I get to know them, what they do.
One of my favorite things was going to places where they interact with children. You know, I want to feel like a kid. Show me why I'm going to like this program that you're offering. We then take the information back to our funders, providing them information about what we've discovered about our nonprofits.
And my wife knows in my household, I have 2 favorite days of the year. And it's not any of our birthdays or an anniversary. It's grant review days. She knows it. She knows we plan around them. You know, we move the kids to where I don't have to deal with them on those days.
Grant review is a very electric day. It's very exciting to see how passionate our reviewers are for our nonprofit partners.
Grant Review Day is an amazing experience. You really are the advocate for these nonprofits.
That's really an exciting time. It's really like going to a cattle auction, honestly. I don't know if I can say that.
Grant Review Day for me is very exciting. It's a little bit nerve-wracking.
I had a fidget spinner in my hand when I presented my first grant, and I thought I was going to break it because I was so nervous.
You get up there in front of the funders, the staff, the other grant reviewers, and present what you find.
You know, create a vivid picture for them to see what you saw without being there.
This is who I met, this is what we talked about, this is how I feel about this grant, how it can impact people and how they're using the money. And And frankly, sometimes just because you have money and just because good folks need money doesn't always mean that it's the right thing. And I think this foundation takes that duty so seriously that I don't know that there's ever a cycle that I'm a part of that I'm not like a mean guy in the room getting scowls from up in the gallery because some of them just don't make sense. The ask doesn't make sense. But then you may have that same organization come back in the next cycle with a similar grant that makes a ton of sense, and then it makes sense to fund it.
When you get all of those perspectives in a room and you really start talking about, well, what matters? And how do we make sure that as a foundation we are addressing needs that really matter to people? I think it's when those conversations come into play and we start listening to each other and we start hearing the importance of community and what that really means, that you really start to see the fabric of the foundation.
It's very fulfilling and satisfying to know that we've got generous people in the community that are giving up their money. We've got generous people in the community that are giving up their time. We've got generous organization, nonprofits that are working. They're the front line, they're the grassroots for this.
The people that do serve in these nonprofits, that do work for these nonprofits, have such a huge heart and they want to help everyone even if they can't. So if I could be the person that's the go-between them and any kind of financial backing that helps them help more people, kind of how the nonprofits are advocates for people within the community they serve, I get to do that for them. But to see the frequency that people raise their hands to donate and help fund nonprofits in this community is amazing.
Being in that room, it's just like we are about to change lives, because it's not about giving to the nonprofit for me, it's about what that nonprofit is going to do for the community.
I don't see a better way to invest in our community than investing in our foundation.
I think people entrust their dollars with the foundation because of this rigorous grant review process that we have.
You know that Walker Area Community Foundation is going to do well by the money that you provide.
I think if you really want to talk about success, you start walking down your street and you look this way and that way and you start thinking about the ways that you see the foundation in everything that you do. It impacts every single person living in Walker County.
Growing up always thinking that you were kind of always on your own and that you have all these obstacles. No matter how big or small they seem to other people, they seem insurmountable. Like, if I just had this one thing, if I just caught this break, man, the Community Foundation wants to be that break for everyone in this community. That one thing that keeps them from being everything that they could be. I've watched the Community Foundation meet that need, break down that barrier time and time again. And it's been really one of the honors of my life to be involved and witness.